Good morning. Yes, it is.
Great. Though we have very less quorum, I see only 7 people have joined by now. But we have waited enough. We already waited for 4 minutes. Now we'll get started. Right. Uh, we'll start with the pending practical which we had yesterday. Yesterday, we did VNet pairing within the same subscription. Uh, we that was global and local peering. Both of them we did. We did VPN. That was the big topic, and most of the time they ask the questions on this topic. They do ask if you have done VPN connectivity, because no matter what task you want to do on cloud, if that particular task, either you or a developer or an operation guy or anyone, if that task uh, needed a connectivity between your on-prem, for example, you're using a server on cloud, and you just have to give a simple print command, and the printer is in your office, right? So these are two different networks. Your office comes under your on-prem data center, right? So a connectivity has to be there. I mean, you will never see a company where they have two dedicated infrastructure unless they're running two different companies. That's a different thing. But if it is one company, they have shared resources, then the connectivity is must there. So you should always know how they connect to these two networks. One is express route, but in express route we require telecom department's help, not department, I mean ISPs, Airtel, Geo. They help us to lay one dedicated line from your data center to Azure's point of presence. If you remember Azure's globe, which we have seen, they have their point of presence. So they lay a dedicated line for you. That's what the express route is, right? And the other one which we have, it's VPN. Both of them are over the internet, but obviously I'm sure you guys know, when I say dedicated line, it means it's only your data being transferred on that line. It is on the internet, but only your data is being transferred on that line. That is express route. VPN, it's over the internet, but it is a secure tunnel. VPN is always a secure tunnel. Your data is not traveling over the internet unencrypted. The moment you call it VPN, it is an encrypted tunnel, right? And in actual environment, you'll have more encryption layers also. So that is VPN. We have already seen VNet pairing. One topic which was pending was VPN VNet pairing in two different subscriptions. Let's say that I have a company and I have multiple subscriptions. Maybe a different subscription for admin department, different subscription for HR department, or maybe it is based on location, different subscription for Pune region, different subscription for Mumbai region, right? Or based on application, different subscription for this application, different subscription for that application, right? Or it could be very basic, at least minimum, which you see. It could be based on environment, different subscription for test servers, different subscription for development servers, and different subscription for prod servers. At least these three you are going to see. Okay? So in any case, if you want one machine or one VNet from one subscription to talk to another VNet from another subscription, right? So how to achieve that? That is what we are going to see. It's very easy, almost similar steps. So I'm going to pick these two machines. One of them, it's in pay as you go subscription. It's a different subscription, and the other one is in UT-Kloud subscription. Okay, so these are the two machines. And guys, I think I have already shown the detailed steps how to use Windows machine, how to turn off the firewall, right? To use the ping. So henceforth, I'll be using Linux machine. It consumes very less configuration, easy to run, right? And now the uh, concept here or the aim here is just to show you how the VNet pairing is working. So I will be skipping the OS level steps which I do. You can always follow this on uh, Windows machine. I'm using Linux. You can use Windows as well. And if you're comfortable with Linux, you feel free to use Linux. Right. So now I have two machines. One is this one, pay as you go VM. The other one is UT Cloud VM. Let's look at their virtual network. One of them is in pay-as-you-go virtual network. The other one is in UT-Kloud virtual network. Obviously, the virtual networks will be different because they are in different subscription, right? They are in same region, but it doesn't matter. Even if they were in different region, it doesn't matter. Let's have a look at their IP addresses. Obviously, I'm not talking about their public IP. Why do I have public IP? It is just so I can take remote as of now and show it to you guys. Right? If I didn't have to take remote, or if I was in office premises, then I would have been able to take the remote. I would have connected to this machine using the private IP directly. So there is no way that we are going to have one public IP. And there is one more method called Bastion. Maybe we are going to cover that today. It's a very small topic, but we'll cover that today. Okay. So let's have a look at the pay-as-you-go machines IP address. First, I'm going to log into both of these machines. I'll ping these two machines and see if they are able to ping to each other, right? Let's have a look at that. So the machine's IP is 172 range, and this machine's IP, it is 10.1.0.4. So let's quickly log in. Like we use RDP to log into Windows machine. Similarly, we have putty or putty, however you want to pronounce it, for Linux machines. It simply opens a window like this. And there are two methods when it comes to Linux login. One is with a key, which I'm not covering now because we are mostly focusing on Windows. And simply it's user ID and password like we do in Windows. I'm waiting for the login page. While I'm waiting for this, do you guys have any doubts, any questions on whatever we did yesterday? Yes, no, maybe. Any doubts, any questions? We did a lot of, I mean, it was one topic, but there were a lot of components and it was a huge topic. So any doubts, any questions you have? And that is important. You can't skip that. That is something which you can't skip. So if you guys have any doubts, any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm configuring the putty software. I haven't used it. So it was configured for a key with AWS. Just changing some settings on my other screen. I may have to download one component. Meanwhile, guys, please feel free to ask questions on what we did yesterday. Any slightest doubt, any question, anything which you did not understand, technical from the business perspective, that when can we get that, or uh, what could be the reason, how much time it takes, any question. Can we connect it using, can we connect to Google? Can we connect to AWS? Can we connect to GCP? Or can we connect to Oracle or Alibaba Cloud or on-prem? Any question. If I don't get any question, either everything
So,
is clear for you or nothing is clear for you.
okay. So, Sohel, one question. So, yesterday we created a subnet for the gateway,
Hmm.
and it's having some IP,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So, why that? Why we reserve that IP in this subnet? Means where it is used actually while connection.
Any connection which is coming from outside, a temporary IP get assigned from that particular pool, the one which we had selected.
Okay. So, suppose we are establishing connection between two organization.
Hmm.
So in general, means there is a connectivity between both the organization, and multiple connection to and fro can be done based on the VM's either integration requirement.
right?
So all the connection will use separate IP means or how it will be. So basically, I want to understand how much IP we have to reserve in the pool subnet gateway subnet
Most
pool.
most of the time, /24 is good enough. /24 is good enough. It gives you 256 IP and it is fair enough. If you think that
Okay.
you have more connection at a time, again, don't confuse this with your end users. This is not your
Hmm.
end user. Normally, VPN, how it works, two public IPs talk to each other. There are two public IPs talking to each other. So every
Okay.
request which is coming from there, okay, wait. Every request which is coming from your on-prem, right, it is not being treated as a new connection. Connection is happening. Like I gave you an example yesterday. Now I am connected with this Zoom session using my laptop and my phone. Right, I'm using my
Right.
phone's speaker or microphone,
Hmm.
and I'm using my laptop's display to share something. But these are not two different connections. For you, it's only one connection. How? Both of these are being routed to my router at the same time, and the header will have my router's public IP. When you are receiving, even if you join my session with four IDs or four devices, one on tab, one on TV, one on laptop, one on your phone, right? All of those will be considered only one. Why? Because all of them are coming through NATing
Connected
process
to the
through router,
right.
right? So not every connection, every communication is not going to get separate IP. It's the public IP they're talking about. So you won't have to worry
Okay.
about it.
So in case of this site to site VPN, uh, logic will be same.
Yes,
Okay.
you're connecting two sites over there, right?
Hmm.
Not individuals. Okay. Guys, unfortunately, again, not sure what's happening. Let me see. Okay, I think now I know what happened. Anyone can tell me what's wrong here? Wait. I was trying to take RDP, not RDP actually. I was trying to connect to this machine here, and I was getting error. And while I was talking to you guys, I was trying to do some troubleshooting, but it didn't work. I clicked OK. What do you think is the problem? It is not connecting.
You are using the private IP
Yes, good idea.
instead of public IP.
Because I was showing you something and then I copied it and I was struggling with this one.
Right.
So look at this. This is how the silly mistakes happen. Right? This is how you struggle a lot. What happens once you copy it? Maybe you are busy in some other task, you copied something. Now here I'm just trying to connect to that machine. So it's easy for me to figure it out that I did something wrong because it is in front of my eyes. Imagine now I was doing some configuration and instead of private IP, I copied public IP, or instead of public IP, I copied private IP. See, this is a pop-up you get. You have to accept, right? Imagine that I copied public IP instead of private or private IP instead of public, or for that matter, any setting. A slight is here and there, and then once you confirm, once you finish your configuration and everything, and it will not work. And you may think पता नहीं यार कितना बड़ा issue होगा, what did I do wrong, क्या हो चुका होगा, and the mistake will be slightest, right? Hence it is necessary, it's always recommended to check your every step thoroughly before you click submit on any configuration, be it VPN, like we were doing yesterday. Go through every settings properly, and then uh, before you hit submit, before you uh, do the put this in the production environment or for testing in front of client, do the thorough check. That is your own testing. Okay, so now we have these two machines. This is pay-as-you-go VM, and this is your uh, password didn't work. UT-Kloud VM. Okay, I'm in now, right? Let's check the IP address of this machine. You don't have to worry about the OS level task which I'm doing. Our job is just to do the VNet peering and see that. So if I check the IP address of this machine's IP address is 172.16.0.4. I hope this is readable for you guys, right? Or is it too small? 10.1.0.4. So from here, which IP will I ping, guys? If I want to check the connectivity, yes, guys, can you hear me? Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes. It's private IP
10.1.0.4.
Yes, 10.1.0.4.
0.4.
Right? Here the T is not required, that is Windows specific command. Here even ping will work continuously. But in Windows, if it is failure, you will get a report that it is being failed. In Linux, you don't get any report. It will simply just show you one line. See. But if it is not going ahead, which means these machines are not connected. So now let's do the VNet peering and we'll see how these machines they start talking to each other or they start pinging each other. Okay, so I'm going to leave these two machines here with ping command. Let's go ahead and do the VNet pairing. So I'll pick any VM. So let's go this VM. Here it is. Which virtual network it is a part of? It is a part of virtual network pay as you go. So I'm going to pay as you go virtual network. Sorry. Then under settings, click on peering. I don't see any peering. Click on add. Give a name. Remote virtual network. Right? What is your remote virtual network? Summary. Peering link. So I'm calling it pay as you go to UT-Kloud. Right? Then where is your remote virtual network? I'm sitting on pay as you go. So my remote virtual network is in UT-Kloud. Here, select the virtual network. This is the virtual network. Again, I'm leaving this blank. Local pairing name, right? So local name will be, in fact, this will can be the local name and remote virtual network name can be UT-Kloud 2 pay as you go. By the way, I have told you just because you name something, it's not going to react like that. You can name it A to B, B to C, 1-2, whatever. You just give a dot or maybe a number, whatever it takes. Fine. This is fine. Just because you name it like pay as you go to UT-Kloud, it is not going to behave like that. That setting you're doing here. You're sitting on pay as you go. So from pay as you go, you want to connect to UT-Kloud, so you have to select it here. And even if you want to select pay as you go to pay as you go, you can't. We have already seen that, right? If you go ahead and by mistake you select the same virtual network, you can't do that. But what you can do end up with is selecting some incorrect VNet. So please make sure you select the correct VNet. Your machine is in UT-Kloud VNet, so select UT-Kloud VNet. Rest all these names, they won't bother you technically, but they will bother you when it comes to management and configuration. Later, when you'll have to pull some report, etc., it will be very difficult. Now, can you see? It didn't even establish properly. It is in progress, but it has started pinging. I saw your message now, Shagun. Sorry to increase the screen, but it's already done now. And don't worry, you don't have to do much thing on OS level. You can still follow Windows if you're comfortable with that. But I'll make sure to maximize it next time. But I hope you were able to see the steps on the portal. Those are important for you. Got it, guys? Now these machines are pinging with each other. So this is your VNet peering across the subscription. As in, there are two subscriptions and you want to do VNet pairing. This is how you do it. I mean, it's quite similar. I told you yesterday also, just you just have to select a subscription and that's it. Nothing else or nothing new you have to do. But still, if you guys have any questions, any doubts, please let me know.
So, Sohail, these subscription needs to be in the same tenant.
Yes, yes, definitely. If these are two different tenants, then these are two different companies. Then if these
Then
are
it will
two
be
different companies, then
VPN.
what is the solution you'll be using?
VPN.
VPN. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
They have to be in same different they have to be in same tenant. You have to have the access on those subscriptions or at least on those VNet, right? Because you're going ahead and configuring something on the VNet. What happened yesterday? I didn't have access to this. I actually created this pay as you go from a different ID, and my own ID didn't have access to that. Hence, when I was doing it, I was not able to configure anything. Forget that, I was not able to turn on the machine. So you need the same level of access on both the side. Got it?
Got
So
it.
in similar line, if we have two different tenant, yeah, either multiple tenant, and if I'm having access on all the tenant, then I can configure VNet peering, right?
No. How can you have same IDs access? See, if you are a part of, let's say you are an employee of IBM, right?
Hmm.
Just an example. You're an employee of IBM. IBM is working for Bank of America. You're working there as a cloud admin, right? Now you have an ID, Vishnu at bankofamerica.com, and you have complete access on the owner level of access on Bank of America, Vishnu at Bank of America. You're working good, doing well, manager is happy, but normally, as usual, you don't have much work. You are also bored, and manager also see that he's not uh, able to utilize you completely. So what he does, he puts you to one more project. He says, okay, you keep continue with Bank of America, but I see you have a lot of free time. So can we go ahead and work for some other project also? Let's work for Lilly. Eli Lilly, it's a pharmaceutical company. It's a giant pharmaceutical company. You are happy because you see good bonus, good promotion. It's a good opportunity to impress your manager, management. You see, I'm happy. You started working, being an IBM employee, you started working with Eli Lilly. You got another ID with Eli Lilly, Vishnu at elililly.com on Azure. Complete access, tenant and everything, everything. Now, even if there is some business need, even if there is a business requirement between these two, and if you have the ID, you can't do the VNet pairing between these two. Your IDs are different, tenants are different. Subscription is a
Right.
different thing. Subscription is a part of one company. You can have multiple subscription under one company. Here, if I have two subscriptions, right, both of these are a part of same company.
Okay.
But when
So
I
so
say
if
different tenant, these are two different companies.
okay. So suppose if I have two different landing zone and resources are in two different landing zone,
Hmm.
basically it's a altogether different directory. So how we can do this in the same way
VPN.
or
VPN, like we did
VPN?
yesterday. You were in different company, I was in a different company. By the way, landing zone is not a correct word. Landing, there is no such thing called landing zone to put your resources. Landing zone is a different concept altogether. We are going to cover that. It's a part of migration. Landing zone is not a place where you can have your resources. Landing zone, it's a different concept altogether. It's a part of migration concept. We are going to cover that, but it doesn't fit here. But if you have different
Okay.
companies, like I gave you one ID yesterday, that ID is not part of my subscription. That was a different company altogether. That
Okay.
I
Okay.
borrowed it from a friend of mine. I borrowed only one ID from a friend of mine for yesterday's practical. Even I didn't have access
Okay.
on that subscription. So that was a different company, a different tenant, and I was doing practicals here on this one. This is different, and that was different. So if these are two different companies, only VPN is the solution. Express
Okay.
route will not work in two cloud sites.
Company.
Express
Okay.
route is only for on-prem
On-prem
to
to cloud.
cloud, and that to Azure. Not every cloud. Azure, AWS has its own
Right.
different solution. GCP has a different solution. So express route
Correct.
is very specific. Azure to on-prem. VPN, it's very versatile. Azure to Azure, as in even in VNet we can do. I told you, right? If I don't want to do VNet pairing, I can do VPN within the same subscription also. If there is some requirement. I mean, it doesn't sound logical, but I can do. So
Okay.
within same
Okay.
subscription, VPN is possible. Different subscription, VPN possible. Different tenant, VPN possible. Different cloud, VPN possible. Uh, Cloud to on-prem, VPN possible. Hence, we spent most of our time on VPN. Hence, I did not just give you the theory part, but we did the practical part. Anyone else who is also interested in doing the VPN, feel free to let me know when you guys figure out your subscription. Once you have it, I'll be working on my subscription. You guys can work on your subscription. We'll share this information with each other, and we can complete the practical. But do it once, then only you'll get the feel of it.
Sure.
Any other questions, guys? And if you guys are not able to coordinate and get one subscription, you guys can go ahead and take your own subscription as well, pay as you go. It won't cost you much. See, with all my practice, whatever I have been doing with you guys, other batches, it hardly cost me 1600 rupees till date, from 1st of March. And this one I prepared day before yesterday because I wanted to show this one. So it costed me 28 rupees, and which I'll be deleting now. I'll be deleting the resources. So if you think that you guys are not able to coordinate and create a subscription, go ahead and take your own subscription, pay as you go. But make sure that you delete resources properly. If you don't delete resources, then you will get a lot of bill. Fine. Any other questions? Any other doubts, guys, on VNet pairing across subscription? Yes, no, maybe. Shagun, was that clear to you? Bashar, Danish, Heather, Hanif, Ibtisam, Prajakta,
Yes.
Vishnu sir,
Yes,
I
yes,
hope this
sir.
is clear. Priyanka.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Fine. Now let's move to the next topic. The next thing which we are going to do, it's hub and spoke model. Hub and spoke, it's such thing, guys. Even if they are not asking you this explicitly in your interview, brag about it. This is something a person who has actually worked for 3 to 5 years, even they don't get a chance to work and they don't know the nitty-gritties, sorry, or the steps, right? But I'll be showing it to you here. So brag about it. If they ask you that, okay, do you remember any task which you have done and you were stuck, which was difficult? So either talk about VPN or talk about hub and spoke. Or if they give you some scenario that I have a machine here, I'm trying to connect to do this connectivity, that connectivity, or if I want to save some money for my client, what can you do? In all of these scenario, hub and spoke will fit. How? I'm going to explain. But what I was trying to say here, it's Even if they don't ask specifically about hub and spoke, you go ahead and talk about hub and spoke, that I have done hub and spoke, I have set up a hub and spoke, right? Why? Because you will see not many people have done it, and you get an edge if you think that if you are able to explain it to them that you have done it, if you name the components properly, if you are able to explain it properly, it is easier to convince them that you have done it. For example, VPN also you don't get, because why? These things are two things. One is uh, good technical skill is needed most of the time. So what they do, especially American companies, foreign companies, from where we are getting most of our clients, right? They do the core work at their end, and they will give you only basic work. That is first thing. One more thing, it's VNet pairing. Uh, VNet pairing is fine. It's simple and it keeps happening. VPN connectivity and hub and spoke. These are not such kind of activities which will happen on daily basis. When do you think VPN connectivity will happen? Will it happen on daily basis, or will it happen once I have my on-prem data center and once I have my cloud, and now it's been 5 years. I'm on cloud and I already have my data center from last 10 years, and now I'm doing the VPN. Do you think this will be the situation, or will I do the VPN on the day itself when I'm going on cloud? When do you think it will happen?
It will be on day one.
Yes, literally in initial days. Because why would you have a cloud where you don't have a connectivity, right? So we'll say, यार machine वगैरह मैं बाद में बना लूंगा. On that cloud, I'm not going to create any machine unless you give me the connectivity. First, give me the connectivity. First, make sure all my users are here. For example, enter ID also. Now, what we have learned here, it's creating new users. Maybe bulk user, it's okay, inviting users. But I have a running company, I have 2000 users already in my Active Directory. Do you expect me to create all those users again here? And if yes, चलो मैंने बना भी लिया बल्क करके, कोई स्क्रिप्ट वगैरह लगा के वहां से एक्सपोर्ट कर लिया, यहाँ पर इंपोर्ट कर लिया. सॉरी, सॉरी. Do you want my users to have two user ID and password? One for my on-prem, one for cloud? And what happens when he's logged into one of the servers on cloud and he wants to RDP to the other server, or maybe just connect to that server, not even RDP, just send some file using SMB. Should I keep playing with IDs? No. Client will say, first you fix my this problem. First, sync all my users here. How to do that? It's not our part. I told you always AD team will be differently. By the way, it happens using a tool called Azure AD Connect. Nowadays, MS Intra ID Connect. This is the tool. If time permits, we are going to do that at the end. Otherwise, I won't do it. It's not a rocket science, by the way. What will it do? It will sync all your 2000 users which are there in your existing company here. So you'll be able to use the same user ID and password. So when do you think this will happen? In initial days, or once you already have your cloud set up after 5 years? Yes, yes. When do you think it will happen? Syncing, connectivity, everything. When will it happen?
So initially, when we will
Initial day.
connect,
Before even client can create one machine here, if he has hired you, let's say TCS, if he has hired TCS to uh, uh, prepare their infrastructure on Azure, first thing he'll ask, the moment my subscription is created, start syncing my user. I will also sometimes log in and check what are you doing. So for me to log in and check in on the portal that what TCS is doing on behalf of me, I should have some access. And I'm not asking you to create new IDs for me. I don't want to play with multiple IDs, right? Hence, this will happen on day one, as in not literally day one, but initial days. Very next thing, connectivity. Set up the connectivity. Express route, VPN, do whatever you want, whichever is best for me. You are the consultant, you're saving money for me. I'll simply just have a look at the report later. If it is not saving money as you promised, then there will be impact on your billing. You are the vendor, you promised me cost cutting. This is what your architecture team, your sales team gave me. It should look like, it should be uh, visible on ground, right? So do the connectivity, whatever you want, VPN, express route, whichever is feasible, whichever is cheaper, do it. Whichever is giving me more uptime, it is not impacting my performance, it's up to you. But when is it happening? Before client comes to the environment. उसने आपको बनाने दिया, ये सब आप बनाते रहोगे, right? So you don't get to work on these issues much. Hence, we are practicing here. Feel free to brag about it, but you'll be able to do it only once you practice them. Right? So we have 30 seconds left in this session. Let's take a break of 5 minutes. I'll see you guys at 11:45, and then we are going to start hub and spoke theory part. Then we'll do UDR because that is a dependency, and then we'll do the practical. So I think today's session we are going to spend on UDR and hub and spoke. See you guys in 5 minutes.